With not exactly very long left before the end of the current season, there are rumors coming out of Madrid that Florentino Perez and the club's board have shifted their position and are now planning an irresistible offer for Lorenzo Castorre, which they believe no other club can match. Real Madrid will do everything in their power to keep their main man and not let him go for free, but two clubs have already merged and are thinking about initiating contact with the Ballon d'Or winner. Castorre's current preference is to stay in Madrid, but we're gonna have to wait and see what Florentino will offer him. After putting 6 past Manchester City at the Etihad, in one of the biggest destructions in the history of the Champions League, Real Madrid continued their magnificent goal-scoring form. Lorenzo Castorre scored a free-kick golazo against Getafe. And later assisted Endrick for the second. Real Madrid were a killing machine. Destroying opponents with no mercy whatsoever. Castorre picked up his second assist of the match as Los Blancos concluded a 5-0 victory. 11 goals in our last 2 matches. Lorenzo Castorre and Real Madrid were determined to fight for both La Liga and the UCL until the end. Castorre couldn't stop scoring. And granted us a key 3 points against Levante in the last minute with a ridiculous golazo. Against Valladolid, we were wasteful, but a beautiful connection between Castorre, Trent and Vinicius saw us tie the match. And later, Arda Güler put a ball over the entire Valladolid midfield and defense, as Castorre carried it into the box and scored yet again. Madrid are simply unstoppable. The entire team is hitting unreal goal-scoring numbers. And Castorre scored a golazo from another free kick. He was completely unleashed, playing like a demon, and with more hunger and desire to win than ever before. But despite our amazing run, Barcelona were just behind us, as they too were also crushing opponents. Back in the Champions League, Real Madrid treated the return leg against Manchester City as nothing more than a friendly. Haaland scored an early goal against us. And made it too late on in the game. But it simply wasn't enough for the citizens. Real Madrid had simply smoked them in the first leg. And Castorre concluded the tie with another golazo thanks to a back heel from Mbappé. 7 goals on aggregate, and even though we lost on the night, we paved our way to the quarterfinals. And who will Real Madrid face in the quarters? Borussia Mönchengladbach. Things turned from sweet to bitter real fast for Real Madrid after the international break. as Castorre's goal in Mallorca wasn't enough to evade a defeat, and our lead at the top was reduced to a single point. But Real Madrid couldn't let one bad result affect the team dynamic and rhythm, as right after that it was time for the Champions League quarterfinals clash against Gladbach. The Germans were on very good form coming into this clash, battling for the Bundesliga against Bayern, and Lorenzo Castorre and the rest of the team knew it would be no easy task to win tonight. Real Madrid quickly got on the front foot, and we were creating a lot of opportunities. But Castorre lacked sharpness, and we got to the break goalless. However, in the second half, the game completely opened up, and Castorre dribbled past the defenders to slot in the first. A very valuable lead in a very complicated stadium. Once again, the Ballon d'Or winner scoring for Real Madrid at the most important stage. But Gladbach wouldn't make it that easy for us, as they applied more pressure and found an equalizer very late on. It looked like it would end in a tie, but nothing is ever that simple when Castorre is on the pitch. Another golazo to retake the lead, and surely now Real Madrid will grab the win tonight. A huge and extremely valuable lead going into the second leg. One week later, the Real Madrid and Gladbach players stepped out on the field of the Bernabeu. With both clubs focused on booking a semi-final spot. And yet, neither team wanted to risk too much in the first half. However, in the second half, the Gladbach players started getting desperate, and Castorre had a chance to cross it, but instead he went for goal. And after almost scoring, Endrick took the lead for us. Gladbach kept pushing as they were very much still alive in the tie. But in the end, Real Madrid proved to be too strong. Rodrigo made it too, sealing our semi-final spot. And in the final minute of the match, Castorre was fouled at the edge of the box. And scored yet again from another free kick. 3-0 the final result and 5-1 on aggregate. Real Madrid have paved their way to another Champions League semis. And who will be our opponent in this penultimate stage? Find out next episode. Florentino Perez is aware that renewing Castorre's contract is the club's #1 current priority, as the Chilean star only has a few months left before being officially considered a free agent. PSG and Inter Milan have tried to initiate talks with Lorenzo Castorre during these last weeks, but Castorre is being patient and waiting to see what Florentino offers before he considers any other club's proposals. According to the latest reports from Marca and Diario AS, Florentino is going all in and is planning to offer Castorre a contract worth 300 million euros spread out across 4 years, or in other words, 75 million euros annually. These next months will decide everything. Do you think Castorre should renew and stay, or will other clubs offer even more?